Today we're going to be implementing a new hose load on our primary engine, engine 10. And what we've done is we had 500 feet of 2.5 inch here, which is all pulled out, hose tested. And in order to accommodate our Minuteman nozzle forward hose load, what we're going to do is we were able to bump this tray out an extra inch or two to give us a nice snug compartment for us to load our hose. So with doing that, what we're going to do is we've broken the compartment in half. So we'll have 300 feet of a flat load, which I'll demonstrate here shortly, will be in the back half. Just a straight up flat load. The front half of this rig will have 100 feet stack, the shoulder load, and then it'll be 100 feet that we're pulling off. Okay, so like I said earlier, we'll start in the back. We'll start with the female as if we were coming off the intake or discharge in the pump panel. So it's 6 sections, 300 feet. I don't know if you can see it, but my tray, I have a nice black mark right here, which is indicating halfway. Our trays are 12 feet long, so it's a 6 feet flat load back and forth. Now that we've loaded 300 feet of 2.5 inch to the halfway mark, which is indicated right here. So what we end up having here is a mark on the hose bed, which is indicated down here on the tray. This is a tail. And what that's going to look like is this is at the very end of that 300 feet. And it stays up on top. So once our hose is loaded on here, and as it comes out, this will roll out and drop down on the tailboard for the driver. So now we'll demonstrate the last 200 feet of hose. This is going to be the same thing as Truck 11's Minuteman load. We're going to start with the nozzle. It will be a stack on top of itself of 100 feet with the nozzle going in first. And I'll show you how that looks. So when we start with the nozzle, we always want to be thinking in terms of functionality and without having anything impede what we're doing. So by keeping this in here like so, we can run into many problems because we're going to have 100 feet on here. As far as lifting and deploying, we don't want to get snagged and caught on anything. So keep the nozzle out to here. The bail is past the grab bar, pistol grip is here, and I'll show you what that looks like as we continue to stack. Cut. So now that we got our first 50 feet, first section loaded, we made our connection with the coupling here, as seen. What we want to do is keep in mind that the coupling can be a barrier when we're loading the next 50 feet. So either we want this coupling to be in the front half of our bends, or we want it more in the back. And in this case, I'm just going to walk it and get it in the back. When we make our pass through and get this next 50 feet on, we're going to be over the pistol grip. So when we do that, we can fan this thing out, keeping it just short of the tip of the nozzle. So this is a tight bundle. So the big thing what we're doing here is we're loading the last 100 feet. And the last 100 feet, because this is going to be an attack line, it needs to be pre-connected, because that's the definition of an attack line, is pre-connected hand lines. So I'm going to start with this end to the back discharge, making my connection here. So pre-connect, connected down there on the discharge, and all this is a back and forth. So I'm going to run this back, and it's going to be right next to the first 100 feet. And as I come back, I want to be able to make my first bite, and that's going to be right here. And in doing that, I want it to be a nice long loop, because this is what you're grabbing when you're off the hose bed and off the tailboard. You're on the ground. You're grabbing this. And we will show this to you later. But this is the first loop. And then it's just, once you have that loop, I'm going back and forth, flat load, till I get to the end of this 50 feet, where I would load the next 50. So the first 50 is loaded, and now this will be the second 50, making it 100 feet. We made the connection here. This is where it ends up. Again, like we talked about with the first section, this coupling, we want either in the front part of our stack or in the back. And we're going to run it in the back here. Once I come down and I come back to the front again, this is where I'm going to make my second and last loop. This is very familiar to what truck 11's load is. It's the exact same thing. So there's another loop. And now that that loop is there, the rest of this hose gets loaded all the way up, and I'll show you what to do once we get to the top. So now that we finished this 100 feet of hose, we end up with a male end here. We come back, bring that up here. Notice our first section with the hose. First section with the hose with the nozzle, we have the female here. This and this has to be connected, and that is where you're going to get your 200 feet of hose. You can cut. So I'm about to simulate how this looks moving forward. So when I get up on the top of the tailboard here, the first thing that I want to be looking at is my nozzle and this first bundle of 100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up and pull out. Now, what you don't see on here, which will be on here in the future, is there will be a Velcro strap here, very similar to truck 11, the exact same thing. And with that strap, it's going to keep everything nice and tight, okay? So as I do that and I make my first pulling it out, I'm going to hop down, still maintaining my points of contact. Should be something very similar to what we discuss when going up ladders. Always maintaining 3 points of contact, always maintaining a point of contact when you're doing search and rescue. Same thing. So notice how that first 100 deployed, it's on my shoulder, okay? It's not really, I should have walked out a little bit more because it should be seated like halfway. Irregardless, it looks like this. I'm going to step away from the hose bed a little bit. And this is what I got. So this, as seen earlier, that's my connection to the next 100 feet, okay? So 2 o'clock in the morning, we notice we have this bite and we have these 2 bites. These 2 bites are always going to be loaded so that they're high. So you're reaching for the stars, you're not grabbing low-hanging fruit. You can grab this and you're going to notice that you're not going to be able to pull off that 100 feet. This is what you're looking for, your 2 bites right here. I'm going to grab it with a gloved hand. As I pull out, Brandon's going to show you that first 300 feet we loaded, that male coupling is going to pop down here. So as the driver, as the MPO, if you need to make any additional connections to the 2.5, that coupling is going to be right there, so you don't have to climb up on the tailboard and get up on the hose bed to grab any additional sections. So now watch. And then I just go to my target. Same thing as truck 11, it's the Minuteman load. So as seen earlier, you saw how it deployed. In this situation, our coupling did not drop down, okay? That's not a big deal, right? And why is that? Because we know that this tail is all still with the initial 300 feet that's loaded in the front half of this hose bed. So if you're the driver and you come back here, because let's face it, firefighters' strengths and sizes are all different. So whether they take this load and they're walking off in this direction or they're walking off in a different direction, you may not have that coupling that drops right out. But as the driver, you should be able to recognize to come back here, you have a bite here, and this bite is indicating that you still have the coupling up there. So it's up to you. You can come up here and take a look for yourself, or if you're the guy that loaded this, you know what's up there, come back here and just pull what you need, and here it is.